Welcome back to the channel, folks. This is Jason, certified financial planner and host of Fighting Words Financial. Today I wanted to talk to you about Xpeng. I wanted to talk about a lot of the news that's been coming out over the last couple of months and kind of do a roundup of that news. And of course, I wanted to talk about a few things that have gotten ignored in the media, but are actually pretty important, and I haven't seen a lot of coverage on those. But before I do get started, I wanted to point out my subscribe sign up there. It's straight for a change. So the person who keeps complaining in my comment section that the sign is never straight, I did that just for you. Anyway, so I'm planning to do a similar update on Neil pretty soon, sort of to round up some of the important news and to cover a few things in the news that I think really weren't covered very well. And I have, a couple people on my Patreon community have been discussing some companies that aren't publicly traded yet, or at least aren't traded on U.S. markets, but they're pretty big players in China in the EV world. And I'm going to start initiating coverage on those too and talking about some of those companies. But let's jump into Xpeng, folks. The stock price of Xpeng has seemed to stall out since about mid-December. Now, folks, this really is not an indication that anything in particular is going wrong. Look, there's always going to be some profit taking after an incredible run in the EV market like 2020. And sometimes the market just needs a breather to sort of digest the run-up. And also, there's always a little bit of end-of-year tax harvesting and some beginning of the year rebalancing of accounts that can add some selling pressure. Altogether, it's likely to have triggered a little bit of a consolidation period, despite the continued positive news coming out about this company. It's hard to believe that Xpeng just went public last August. Recently, so much has happened in the EV world that it really seems like an eternity of news about progress and new discoveries was just crammed into the last 12 months. But let's take a look at some of the most important news items, including one or two that might have flown under the radar a little bit. Now, as I covered in another video on Xpeng Motors in September, on the 28th of September actually, Xpeng broke ground on its second self-owned and self-built intelligent manufacturing base. This is in Guangzhou Knowledge City. If you don't know anything about Guangzhou Knowledge City, it's basically the planned community version of Silicon Valley with intelligent manufacturing facilities within walking distance of research and development labs. Guangzhou is engineering the conditions to create a society, a Chinese society, that's able to compete in a technological future. The Guangzhou base is constructed with cooperation and with funding from local government and economic development authorities. This is the second complete Xpeng vehicle production plant that is self-owned, following the Zhaoqing base one, in addition to their third factory, which is a partnership production facility that Xpeng has with Xpeng Motors. One important piece of manufacturing news that probably slipped under the radar in November was the fact that the first self-owned factory that Xpeng has in Zhaoqing received permits from the government to expand its manufacturing capacity. Xpeng is now targeting an annual production capacity of 100,000 units at the plant that produces its popular P7 sedan, with deliveries already topping 3,700 per month for this popular model and rapidly growing demand. I expect that even this new capacity is going to be tested by the end of the year. It's probably already known by many Xpeng enthusiasts that the company exported 100 of their G3 SUVs to Norway, which, to be honest, was surprising. I thought the P7, a more refined vehicle, would have been the first model that they exported rather than the first car that they manufactured. The initial shipment was 100 units, and what you may have missed in the news, however, was that the first batch is already sold and an additional 200 plus units have been shipped to Norway. BYD was the first Chinese company to export electric cars to Europe in quantity, to my knowledge. But of the new class of emerging EV makers, Xpeng was the first to foray into international developed markets. In a business move that got very little coverage, Guangzhou Chengjing Zedong Motors, a subsidiary of Xpeng Motors, set up an auto parts manufacturing company in late January. Essentially, a subsidiary of Xpeng Motors is setting up an auto parts manufacturing company. According to filings, the new company, dubbed Guangzhou Xpeng Manufacturing Company Limited, was registered and funded on January 14th in Guangzhou. The new company has lines of business that include research and development, manufacture, retail, and wholesale of automotive parts, the maintenance of electrical equipment, the production and sale of batteries and electrical and electronic parts, the manufacture of intelligent in-car facilities and Internet of Things equipment, as well as the sale of battery swapping facilities. Xpeng is getting into the battery swapping business, and I think that probably means that a new vehicle model with a swappable battery can't be far behind. The new subsidiary is 99% controlled by Xpeng Motors. In other news regarding charging infrastructure, as of December 29th, 2020, Xpeng Motors' free supercharging service is now in over 100 cities in China with 670 supercharging stations serving over 90% of Xpeng users. Also, in another bit of overlooked news, in late December, Xpeng Motors founded another subsidiary, a Shenzhen-based company dedicated to research and development and sales of smart robots. This company is dubbed the Shenzhen Pingjing Intelligence Company Limited, and the company was founded on December 22nd. It's going to have lines of business that include research and development, AI-powered hardware, industrial robots, and service robots. He Xiaopeng, the chairman of Xpeng Motors, is the majority shareholder with 65.1% equity interest. Also recently announced, Xpeng Motors plans to launch its third production model in 2021. No word on whether or not that's actually going to have battery swapping capability, but the vehicle is expected to be delivered as early as fourth quarter of this year, according to Brian Gu, vice chairman and president of Xpeng Motors. Mr. Gu said that the electric vehicle market has been split between high-end and low-end offerings, while Xpeng Motors targets the middle tier of the market, which has seen relatively low penetration. Xpeng Motors teased its third mass-produced model via its WeChat with a silhouette photo. The teaser photo shows the forthcoming model is going to be a sedan. The new model is expected to be a conventional sedan and features the same closed-off grille as the Xpeng P7. However, the company hasn't announced any more details about the appearance. The yet-to-be-launched model may be called the P5, and it may be the world's first mass-produced intelligent model carrying LiDAR. Speaking of LiDAR, Xpeng announced in January that it's going to be using LiDAR sensors from Livox, a company with close ties to Chinese drone maker DJI. The choice of remote sensing technology LiDAR and a Chinese supplier might say something about the complexities of the US-China tech war. Many industry experts are surprised by this move towards LiDAR. Xpeng said it's going to be adding LiDAR to its mass-produced autonomous cars by 2021, a strategy which really does differentiate it from Tesla, as Elon Musk has been fairly dismissive about the technology. Elon has long derided the use of LiDAR in autonomous driving, calling the technology expensive sensors that are unnecessary. Instead, Tesla relies on neural network training and camera-enabled visual recognition for its autonomous vehicles. Just because Xpeng is committing to LiDAR doesn't mean that other Chinese EV makers are on board. The Daimler-backed Chinese electric vehicle company Momenta, for instance, is betting on less expensive millimeter wave radars and high-definition cameras. Xpeng already uses these sources to collect data, a camera, millimeter wave radar, and ultrasonic among other sensors. It really isn't clear how the addition of LiDAR fits into Xpeng's self-driving strategy other than providing a greater level of redundancy. It may lead to more accurate imaging of the environment, enhanced target detection, measurement accuracy, or performance in low light or ambient light and other challenging perception conditions, according to Xpeng. The choice of Livox is actually pretty interesting as well. There are plenty of good foreign options such as Velodyne or Luminar. And even in China, they have domestic challengers. Livox faces some strong competition from Hesai, which is a company that's backed by Bosch and the Chinese search engine giant Baidu, and has funding from state-backed automakers like BAIC and SAIC. Livox itself was founded in 2016 through DJI's business incubation program. One of its primary aims has been to lower the price point of LiDAR, which the company claims has been made possible due to its unique optoelectric scanning method. This foray into autonomous driving really shouldn't be surprising, as DJI is already heavily involved in agricultural drones. If you're interested in drone technology and possible applications for LiDAR, this is a partnership that you probably want to pay attention to. Folks, if you enjoy this kind of content, don't forget to hit that like button and to subscribe to my channel. It really does help out with the YouTube algorithm. Also, please be sure to let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you're interested in supporting my channel, join our growing community of open-minded investors and check out my Patreon link in the description below. Thank you very much, guys. As always, I look forward to hearing your thoughts. Feel free to tell me how wrong you think I am in the comments below, and I'll see you next time.